Okay, so welcome to the News to You science portion, science session, where we're going to dive into some science activities and look at News to You, and then share some of the items that we would like to share. I want to acknowledge the let's see this. Oh, I'm sorry. So let's go over the session objectives. So first of all, we'll be able to describe the program News to You. And then we're going to share activities in science and how they're printed and how we use them with our students. And then we're going to manage weekly activities and lesson planning. I'll tell you the way that I work with them. And then we'll share some of our experiences with News to You in the science world and in general. We are recording. So if you want to if you don't want to be recorded, you can stay muted and without video for those people who just walked in. Let's see. And then I think I need to share my Bitly again, right? So there's a sign-in sheet and also the presentation folder. Okay, let's see how I get back in. Oh, here it is. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you could, so the elephant in the room I want to talk about is that we still have summer, and that's the most important, right, for ourselves. We're in this presentation, and we need to take care of ourselves. And I operate a little differently with professional development. I think that caring for the self is really important, and I think we should celebrate that and admire that. So if we could just chime in one at a time and just say your name, years working with special needs students if you have, and then something about the summer or what you're going to do before August 1st to culminate your summertime, reading the book, staying home, relaxing, going on vacation to 100-degree weather, visiting family. Okay, so if anyone wants to chime in, go right ahead. Please share your name, your school, your role, and something about the summer.
Are we going to verbally or in the chat?
Verbally would be great.
Okay, I'm James Green. My 8th year of being a substitute teacher. I've been in every public school in Salinas. I've done everything from kinder to 12th grade. Next week, I'm working on Scope and Sequence conference with the Salinas City Elementary School District. So I'm hoping some of this will go to that. I taught little bits electronics for summer school in the 6th graders. I guess that's enough for now.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm Jennifer Beltspoon-Den. I'm at LSL. I'm the Edgenuity teacher there, so Contract Academy. I've been working for 18 years as a teacher, and all of that time with students with special needs. And I get to do Edgenuity training next week for new teachers to the program. And that's about it.
Thank you. Does anyone want to share their summer or something that they want to do before the schoolwork begins?
Sure, I'll go next then. My name is Jose Arellano. I teach Spanish for native and non-native speakers at Ever Alvarez High School. This coming school year is going to be my 6th year with the Eagles. I'm currently in Mexico spending time with family members, and we're having a big party this coming weekend for the whole family.
Good for you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go next. So I'm Christine. I teach science in North Salinas High School. It will be my second year this opening. And before the start of the school year, I probably must review the new curriculum for NGS or biology. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and hello, my name's Eric Kronk, and I've been subbing in the district for over 10 years, well over 10 years. And a lot of the times I work at junior highs doing PE, sometimes high school PE, but my second favorite probably class is the life skills. And I always enjoy working with them a lot. And one of my good friends works over at Jason Tadman, is one of the new life skills teachers over at the adult school.
Thank
So
you.
I'm looking forward to working with him. And I worked with the Rancho San Juan this last year. I got over there and worked with some of the teachers and the students over there. But in the summer, the big thing, my son's turning 9. We went down to visit family in San Diego, my dad and stepmom's side, and I took him. He wanted to go to Universal Studios, so we did that on the way down. Usually he does Legoland, and then we drove up to Tillamook Bay, the northern Oregon coast. My mom lives there. My brother and his wife and son moved from Hawaii there. And his son, he's going to be a senior at University of Oregon. So we had great beach weather. It's kind of crazy. It didn't rain the whole time, which is not normal, but made for good weather, good beach weather.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share their summer activities or information about themselves?
Hi, my name is Edith. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was actually at Alvarez for a semester last year, but I went over to being a sub this year, so it's been lovely. I've been able to travel quite more often. But this summer, I was able to meet my online friends of 3 years. We all got together and we spent a whole week in Arizona, of all places. It was super hot, but yeah, a lot of us it was the happiest moment because we had only spoken online for 3 years consistently, almost every day, and we became really good friends, and we were all able to meet up finally. So that was probably the happiest thing that occurred over the summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Anyone else? Okay, so just about me, I'm obviously visiting Texas, and I took my children for the first time, 10 and 11-year-old, to a water park called Schlitterbahn. I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of it, but you're on tubes and you kind of go down little waterfalls. It's kind of scary, but it's also fun, and it's sort of a rite of passage for my family to do that. And then the other thing for this summer, before August 1st, I'll probably start before, but before August 1st is just waking up late. Instead of this 6 o'clock timing piece that I start off on and get going for the whole day. It's nice to do that. It's also nice to work and, be focused with the students and everyone. So, okay. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'm going to move on and we'll talk about news to you. Let's see. So I'll do this piece and then we'll go on to our survey. So what is news to you? News to you is I got the quote from the program, but it's basically a reading program for students with special needs or that have difficulty with reading, a lot of symbol use. And there's 5 pieces that they use. And I know if you're in the elementary piece, they have the vocabulary, phonics, phonomics, those 5 pieces, and science literacy, right, that we're using, or the science of reading. It started with a speech and language pathologist who was trying to incorporate symbols for socialization. So she was using symbols. So it's morphed into these kind of 5 different things, and I'll show everyone an example right now. So what I'd like you to do right now is actually very quickly, go back, is fill out this survey. Let's see, how do I get that survey out? Oh, here it is. No, here, I'm sorry. Let's see, copy. Okay, we'll use this survey here. If you could just quickly work on that survey. And let me go back one time. Okay, there. Did everyone get it? Was everyone able to use that survey? Mhm. Yay, it's working. And then you're putting in those responses, right? So you'll show it, you'll see it here on the form. Option 5, what was option 5? Okay, so great. So News to You is a program that's been given to the special education department for the life skills. I think for the functional academics as well, but I'm not too sure. I work specifically with the mod severe population, but I'm sure that they could get a license for that if they don't have one. How knowledgeable? Good. All right, so these are the responses and the question. Let's see, oh, summary. Okay, not too knowledgeable. Let's see. Do you enjoy science in the classroom? Good. Good amount. Do you use science activities? Never enough time, right? And I know we have to mix it with ELA and math and kind of a battle unless we're building that content between them. And then do you know what the weekly news is? Good. I'll be able to demonstrate what that is because that's where I get the current science information. And then no or maybe. Okay. So I'll show you how to print that out as well. Okay, that's awesome. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to my slide. Okay, so I'm going to take you through going into News to You and looking at the activities. Let's see, so I'll have to share this. Okay, so when you log into News to You, you get this information. And there's the unique learning system, which we use, and then we also use the News to You. You click on this, and what you get is two pieces of information, the current issues and the breaking news. And so what I do is I go to the current issues, and I have my 2 activities for about 4 weeks. I think they're on for 2 weeks each. So the RoboCop is going to finish soon, and the Tour of the Turtles is coming up. So what I do, actually, let me show you first with the News to You. So because I work with students in life skills, I click on the simplified portion, and then I read the newspaper with them. So this is just the weekly reader. What I'll do in a second is I'll show you the science activity. So you can also click on it.
A big robot competition is July 4th to 10th.
Right, and you can also click on the word
Big.
So these are for students who their reading is at, below kindergarten level or at the pre-kindergarten level. We would go from there. So it gives a quick story. But what you can do interactively is you can print this out, have them follow along and read it, and then you can also use it on the large digital board. Okay, so now let's go back to the science portion. So let me go back. Let's see, where's the beginning? Okay, so the whole article for RoboCop, it's just a bunch of activities for RoboCop. There's cooking, there's science, it's math, social studies. So what I do is I go down here to the PDF downloads. And I'm going to choose the RoboCop this time. And I go to all the worksheets. And let's see. What happens is that you get every single worksheet that's been created for that activity. And then you go down to this bottom piece. It's embedded in here. You just have to go down. Let's see where it is. Right. Okay, that's the cooking. So one more. Okay, so this is the science activity. Let's see. So what I love about News to You and their science activity, it's so easy, it's so intuitive, and it's just made for teaching the students really quickly. And the only thing you need is just to get some of the materials. But if you just look at that, it's like it's just there for you. I when I signed up to do this, I was just I just want to share this because it's just so easy. So you get the quick synopsis of building a robot by hand in this section. Let's see. And then you get what you need. And this information, you go over with the students. There's 8 things you need. This one, so you might do some prep time to get this together, but they talk about robots and a competition. And then they give you very clear activity steps. And so this is the downloaded piece. So what I do is I print it out and give it to the students and we follow along. But then there's also the interactive board piece, which I'll show you in a second. And if you go down here, same thing happens. Get more information, and then you get the questions for the experiment, right? Let's see. I forget I have to check the chat just in case. And then you have the classroom discussion. And then at the bottom, you get their main science vocabulary words. And then you talk about nouns and being expressive. And then for this activity, the content is actually looking at mechanics and how robot simulates a human hand with the nerve connections and the muscle connections. And then just very quickly, I know we tie this into our science standards. There's a part in the News to You where they talk about the standards they work on, the national standards, and then California. If you're, as a teacher, you would just connect those if you need to with the national standards. But they look at life science, earth science, and the physical sciences. Okay, let's see. I think I had someone come in, so let me just copy this bit.ly real quick. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go back. Let's see. I'm going to go back here. And then we'll go back one more time. So in the news to you, we have something called activities. And for this one, I'm going to try the Tour the Turtles. This one just came out, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to go down to the science, and this is where you get the interactive piece. Here it is. Okay, so there's the introduction. That's for you, and a light synopsis for the students. And then you can move over. And then if you had this on the TV, right, or the media board, you can go over it with the student.
String.
Did everyone hear that? Good. Okay.
What we can do.
So it'll read it to you as well, so it'll help the student. And you, this is this sort of activity you do over a whole week process, and then you would obviously read about the turtles over 2 weeks. Let's see, let's go over. So it gives you very clear activity steps, right? So
1. Tie string to bolt.
and it goes all the way, and you're going to be creating a little turtle. And then the last steps. And then what you learn, right? What was the bolt in the sea turtle reacting to?
Magnet.
And then if you get it correct, it'll cue you in. If you get it wrong,
Cardboard.
gives you that verbal feedback, right? And visual feedback. And then you get to
Yes. Yes.
make a subjective observation. And then they have the class discussion. And then here's the science vocabulary
String.
words that I talked about. So for life skills students or students in life skills that have severe needs, I typically would just copy these and place them into folders so that they're connecting them with the picture, matching them with the picture.
Bolt.
As a the hand, whether the hand over hand or just a pure matching piece. Let's see. Okay, great. Let me go back. Let's see. Right here. Okay, does anyone have any questions on? I know if you don't have the program, you won't be able to see that, but you can. Your life skills teacher, or the teacher who has this, will be able to start printing out some of that, especially for science. If there's any, if there's students who are looking at science, does anyone want to share anything in terms of using the science activities? Okay, so I wanted to share the one that I did. Let's see, so I'll have to go here. So I had the chance to work the ESY summer school. The opportunity, right? And it was great. It was fun. I worked with students that were in a different classroom, life skills, students in life skills. And let's see what I did. We worked on something called pressure and temperature. I just have to find it because it's a arts piece. Here it is. So we talked about temperature and pressure. And we were talking about, because this is from the Special Olympics. So what we ended up doing is you freeze one tennis ball and you have another tennis ball and you let them drop. and you measure the speed, right? So which one? Actually, I'm sorry, you measure the bounce based on the temperature and pressure. So it's very simple. The activities about 7-8 steps, and then you end up recording in a simple sheet that you print out and then that you use interactively. And I ended up using a measuring tape for that. So let's go over here and let's see. I'm going to share this. Okay, so that's my summer school class, or the ESY class, and that's me. I did it in front of them, and we had the balls, and we were dropping it. It was neat to see them thinking about the answers, trying to fill in those worksheets with what happened, and just giving them that opportunity to experiment in science with pressure and temperature. See, that's at San Juan Rancho. Okay. So what I wanted you to do is go into the drive, and I'll put maybe a 10-minute timer, but it might be a little less, and just look at those items. Did they go too far? Let's see. Let me go back very quickly. So here it is. Just look at the name of the science project or the activity, the content. It would be looking at earth science, physical science, life science. The drive will look like this. And you would look in here for activities. And I've downloaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 activities. If you can just open it and find the science activity and just see how difficult it would be to implement. Any comments? I think they're super easy and they're like set up for you. I mean, it's awesome. So the only thing caveat with news to you is that those activities do not stay on the website. So as soon as they come in, you have to download that that packet. And to just save it. And I've just been saving them ever since I started here. I just save them. So they're awesome. Let's see. We'll go into. So I'll put a timer on, and then if we can go for about 8 minutes, if you want to just poke into those folders and get that information. And what we'll do is we'll share one of them on the whiteboard. But let me put let's do 9 minutes. Here's my sensory timer. And let's see, look here. And if you also need to take a bathroom break or go get some coffee, you're welcome to do so now. I just want to give time to people to look at the content and see what they find. I think I accidentally took off the timer. That's okay. Okay, so we'll stop there. I apologize. But so what I wanted you to do is go back into the drive and go to the, let's see, let me get my presentation right. Here it is. Let's see, there it is. Okay. And we were here. So if we could go to the whiteboard and then just use a Post-it and just type in what the title of yours was, the content area, the question. Was it difficult? How difficult do you think it would be to implement that activity? Some of the vocabulary you saw in a comment. That'd be great. And then the whiteboard is in the folder, and it's called N2Y whiteboard. Let's see, let me make a link as well. Copy link, and I'll put it into the chat box here. And then there should be little stickies there. The world's biggest aquarium. Yeah, I remember those. No problem. I have to tell you, this is the quietest classroom I have ever had for adults or students. Okay, so we have the aquarium. A lot of you saw that one. There was one I thinking back, and I don't recall that, but they were checking copper on pennies and turning green, so you had to leave the pennies, I think, before 1995 or 85. And what you did is you left them in vinegar, and then you took them out, and you saw what happened. They started to turn green if they were made of copper, and if they weren't, they were just cleaned up. But they talked about the chemical reaction. Okay, so it's 516 there and 316 here. Does someone want to share what they think of just that one activity they saw, or that they reviewed or looked at in terms of content, in terms of how easy it might be or how difficult getting it together, or for the student in the life skills class, if you might use it? We have some life skills or FA teachers in the class now, or the session. They'd like to chime in as well. That'd be great.
This is Edith. So I'm a substitute, right? So sometimes we are provided long-term sub assignments, and this past year, the last couple months or so, I was in a life skills class, and the work that was provided to me was just a lot of worksheets, a lot of worksheets that I had to print out and just to repeat every single day. And I honestly, life skills isn't an area of expertise for me, but I was a resource specialist for about a year and a half for freshmen, sophomores at Soledad High School and at Alvarez. So looking back at this, I find it very resourceful because with this, if I'm able to have access to it, I could provide students who don't necessarily have their teacher, because my long term was the teacher left the first couple months of school, and that was it. So a lot of people would just have worksheets for them. So for me, it would be super, super useful to come in and say, hey, look, there's this program that we could try, and let's go ahead and implement it, so it's not just paperwork for our kiddos. So yeah, this is super awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome. Is there someone else who'd like to share?
I'll go ahead and share. First and foremost, I do apologize. The Jamboard's not working on my end, but I did have the opportunity to just look over the different lessons, and I think I wrote it previously. I don't know if I deleted it or not, but it was a comment on the Jamboard that said, I really like how that each lesson has like a letter home, like something like it's like a reflection kind of thing for the students, and I think that kind of enables them to kind of just reflect on what they learned in the classroom setting. I tried to justify if it would be easier or not to deliver the lesson, because I'm not in the classroom, I'm outside the classroom. So I think it would be at least, if I have an opinion, I think a 3 or 4 in terms of difficulty.
Thank you. And I know there's so I'm a special educator, and I know there are science teachers here. I'm not trying to I know what I try to do is I try to distill the science to get just those very, very core concepts with the students I have due to their special needs. But I know science is complicated. It's just a whole world. I love it. That's why I'm just focused on this, because in about 8 or 10 worksheets or it's just so easy for the educator to take that, print it out, get those materials and start having the students experience pressure, building something, seeing chemical reactions. And this is all through the News to You piece. And it does incorporate the reading, the math later on, but then the science is there. You get to see that hypothesis, the experiment, the 5 steps. The scientific method is there, which I think is the basis of learning, right, in science. Would anyone else like to share?
Yes, Mr. Mosqueda. I was looking at the Nemo's Garden one, and that was really interesting. And although I'm not always, substitute teacher in the classrooms, and especially science, but like I said, my friend, it'll be his 2nd year at the adult school, and if he's not already using this, and I'll pass this on to him for sure. And if I was in the in a science classroom, because you get inlaid in all different things, and sometimes you have some extra time. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes there's not even really a lesson plan. But this one would also, I think this would work great with like English learners too, because it's got the pictures, the words, and mi español es muy terrible, pero practicar, todos los días. Something like that would be good for me to learning Spanish, because it's always good to practice and learn more. So yeah, I think this is a great activity. Oh, and I forgot to put out at CSUMB, I did the Earth System Science Policy. There is liberal studies, but my minor, my emphasis was in science. So this is kind of right up my alley too.
Thank you. I did want to just, for the general education classroom, especially the science, I just think that if you take something like this and you work on it backwards with the student, kind of that, instead of the bottom up, you go top down and you figure out what are they trying to ask? How does that turn over into formulas and what we're learning in physics or things? I think you really develop that self-reflection, that metacognition that we talk about in schools, and learning, getting information, how you see yourself gathering that information, or what made you think that it's about this or that. That's just my personal view. I don't know how another science teacher or a science teacher would see that. Does anyone have anything from News to You that they want to share that they've worked on before? It's kind of our celebration time. I had some music to go with this. My celebration is just using the worksheets and using the science activity. But anything that we use, it's just valuable, right? Because we use it, and we're always working on it. That's why we're here in the summer, looking at some sessions here to work on something for the fall and the spring, helping students learn. Okay, let's see. Do I have any? Okay. There you go. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me, Eugene Mosqueda. I know I was supposed to put a whiteboard on if you have the parking lot has questions. I mean, parking lot for questions. But I didn't get a chance to share that with you. But if you have any questions, you're welcome to email me or call me. I'm at Everett Alvarez. Let me copy this Bitly. I hope you enjoyed this quick little session. Learn a little bit about science. using this with the life skills program. And if you could just fill out that bit.ly, that'd be great. And everyone have a great weekend and enjoy everything you can until August 1st, where we get started again. And I'll see you around. I'll stay on a minute or two, but I know everyone just have a awesome time. Staying up late, waking up late, playing with your kids, playing outside, and everything you do. Thank you.